The year is 2028. Donald Trump, the controversial figure who dominated American politics for decades, has left office. Now, for years after his presidency, the question on everyone's mind is, what happens next? The United States, a country shaped by populist ideals, media manipulation, and polarizing rhetoric, is navigating a post-Trump world. But how does the nation evolve after this towering figure fades into history? Here are several scenarios that explore what life in America might look like after Donald Trump's era. Before we get into it, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone who might enjoy this exploration of future possibilities after the presidency of Donald Trump. Your support helps us spread valuable insights that can enrich lives and relationships. Let's get into it. 1. The resurgence of populism, a country divided by class. In the aftermath of Trump, populism continues to reign supreme, but it evolves into a more complex, fragmented form. While Trump himself is no longer in power, his ideas of draining the swamp and placing ordinary Americans against the elite still resonate strongly with many. However, his departure doesn't create a unified movement. Instead, various factions emerge. Some are pro-business populists, others embrace anti-globalization rhetoric, and still others champion racial and cultural separatism. Politicians across the political spectrum try to fill the void, but no single figure captures the nation's collective imagination in the same way Trump did. Life in America. The middle class, still reeling from economic shocks, feels further divided. The elites, tech billionaires, corporate executives, and media moguls continue to wield enormous power, while the everyman feels disconnected from government. The rhetoric of making America great again is repurposed by new populist leaders, but instead of national unity, it leads to deeper divides over class and race. 2. The tech media overload, information warfare intensifies. While the Trump presidency was marked by Twitter storms, alternative media, and vast conspiracy theories, the world beyond Trump's influence has taken this to an extreme. After his departure, social media platforms evolve into even more chaotic battlegrounds. Algorithms, AI-driven deep fakes, and hyper-targeted political ads make it nearly impossible to discern fact from fiction. The legacy of Trump's relationship with the media, casting doubt on traditional news outlets and championing alternative voices, has reached new heights. With the advent of hyper-partisan media ecosystems, the average American struggles to find trustworthy information. New political influencers arise, often using platforms like TikTok, Telegram, and niche podcasts to spread their ideologies. Life in America. Americans are inundated with conflicting narratives. Trust in traditional institutions, from the government to journalism, continues to erode. Conspiracy theories become mainstream, with more and more people retreating into echo chambers that reinforce their biases. Political polarization becomes entrenched, and a fractured nation struggles to communicate across ideological divides. 3. The deep state's new face, an overhauled bureaucracy. In the aftermath of Trump, the so-called deep state, the permanent, unelected bureaucratic apparatus that Trump once claimed was working against him, remains a powerful force in American politics. However, rather than diminishing, it morphs into a more sophisticated and refined structure. After years of his administration pushing back against entrenched Washington power, the deep state adapts. A new wave of technocrats, corporate lobbyists, and military-industrial leaders move to fill the void left by Trump's populist government. These figures operate behind the scenes but exercise unprecedented influence over key decisions that are often more corporate and militaristic in nature. Life in America. American foreign policy becomes more about corporate interests and international trade deals than idealistic diplomacy. The military-industrial complex remains powerful, with a growing focus on AI warfare and cybersecurity. The average American's influence in shaping policy diminishes as big tech, big oil, and the military become the real players. The illusion of a populist government fades as the behind-the-scenes establishment tightens its grip. 4. A new global role, America's decline and retreat. The Trump administration's America First agenda left a significant mark on global politics. His isolationist tendencies weakened alliances with NATO, and his dismissal of international agreements, from the Paris Climate Accord to the Iran nuclear deal, shifted the global power dynamics. After his departure, the US begins to retreat further from the world stage, focusing more on domestic concerns and less on maintaining global influence. In this new world order, China and Russia rise as the dominant global powers, creating new geopolitical tensions. The US focuses inward, but in doing so, it loses its role as the world's preeminent superpower. Life in America. America's economy, once the engine of global trade, stagnates. Many American industries face fierce competition from abroad, and the loss of global prestige becomes a hard pill to swallow. People look inward, becoming more insular, but the external threats, like rising foreign competition, keep the nation on edge. National pride takes a hit, and cultural divisions seem to mirror the political struggles on the world stage. 5. Cultural renaissance or continued fragmentation. Without Trump in office, cultural movements that gain traction under his presidency, like the anti-woke push, begin to evolve. Some factions double down, pushing for a return to what they consider traditional values, while others see a cultural renaissance where new progressive movements expand their reach. This tug-of-war shapes the cultural landscape of America for years to come. Without the divisive force of Trump leading the charge, these movements slowly lose momentum. But the effects of his rhetoric still linger. Many Americans continue to fight over the soul of the country, debating what it means to be American in a rapidly changing world. Life in America. In some ways, the U.S. becomes more fractured, with identity politics becoming a dominant feature of daily life. However, in other circles, the absence of a polarizing leader opens space for healing and a genuine dialogue about race, class, and America's future. Arts and entertainment see a revival of diverse voices, as younger generations push back against previous narratives. But the shadows of division remain. Conclusion: life in America after Donald Trump remains a country of contradictions, struggling to heal from the wounds of political polarization, yet grappling with the consequences of decades of populism, corporate control, and deep political divides. What remains clear is that the country will continue to evolve, but the shape of its future, whether brighter or more fractured, depends on how the next generations choose to define their identity and influence the world around them. Hope you enjoyed this projection. This is made for entertainment purposes only, exploring different potential futures in a world after Donald Trump. Of course, we can't predict the future, but it's always fun to imagine the possibilities. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Let's keep the conversation going and see what other intriguing scenarios we can explore.